Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajikacharya Stottara Shata Srimad Shilaisi Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Grantaran Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Johannes, kannst du mir das Prabhupada Buch geben? Ich weiß nicht, was lesen wir. Ja, okay. Danke dir. So we'll read first from Transcendental Diary by Hari Sori Prabhu, describing transcendental pastimes of Srila Prabhupada. Reading now we are in Vrindavan Dham, and continuation Yashomatinandan Prabhu. Yashomatinanda Prabhu sent a package from Gujarat. His preaching report was upbeat, meaning it was very enthusiastic. On Radhashtami, they moved into the new temple premises at 7 Kailash Society, Ashram Road, Navrangpur, Ahmedabad. About 75% of his life members attended the successful opening, and they served prasadam to over 500 people. You see how much ISKCON has progressed, which was success to have served 500 people. Now, under 5,000 is not happening, especially in Mayapur and everywhere else. 500 people is. We just had a festival in Ireland, in the Krishna Island, and devotee cooked. No, the Janmashtami, Ratha Yatra in Dublin, and devotee asked him how many people he cooked. 3,500. And this is an insignificant town in Dublin, Ireland. So ISKCON is expanded, although maybe externally we don't see it. We don't have any more buildings, more big temples, but ISKCON is expanding by devotees. We have devotees in every town, almost every town, every village, every place, every country, and every year more and more people get initiated. And there, although you come to the temple, there's like 5 devotees in the temple, but actually congregation is much larger, much larger. And so this is actually the actual wealth. Prabhupada says, there was a few days ago, I think Prabhupada quote, and Prabhupada says, our wealth is not buildings, our wealth is making devotees. Because ultimately this is what counts, Because there's so many temples, we have this Angkor Wat famous temple in what country? Cambodia. What country is this? Cambodia. Have you been there?
I want to go.
I also wanted to go. I was thinking this would be something to see, It's like a huge place and beautiful. Of course, the Buddhists try to put Buddha somehow squeeze it in there. But this was, I can imagine, this was millions, not thousands, millions of people were building that place and participating in the ceremonies and worshiping Vishnu and whatever. So this is actually what counts, because ultimately buildings are buildings. Buildings are just buildings, material. But if you use in Krishna service, Hare Krishna. Shri Gonitai Ki Jai. Vijay Gauranga Nitai Ki Jai. This is actually what counts, the people. So anyways, to come back to Yashomatinanda, 500 people were served because they held a press conference day before. All the newspapers reported on the event very favorably. He is now looking for some land because he has about 65,000 rupees in the bank. This is probably lots of money at that time. 65,000 rupees now is all right, but at that time it must be huge money. He enclosed a copy of new Gujarati magazine he has published, which came off the press on Janmashtami and is translated The Scientific Basis of Krishna Consciousness, and is working now on an easy journey to other planets. He asked Prabhupada's permission to publish these 2 books as one volume, since they both deal with science. Which 2 books? Or maybe he published some other book before. Huh? Anyways, so he asked 2 books. The Scientific Basis of Krishna Consciousness, Easy Journey to Other Planets. After another enclosure included was an article printed in Gujarati language, weekly magazine with a circulation of 50,000. Yashamati went to the trouble of translating and typing it out. It was similar in the tone of the Blitz. It described Srila Prabhupada's activities in spreading Krishna consciousness as booming import-export business, exporting religion and importing foreigners and foreign money. It questioned, this is the Gujarat, Gujarat is famous as a business hub, more or less, of India. And so they see this, it's good business, importing, exporting spiritual knowledge and importing foreigners who bring money. So it's not bad, because all the money actually at that time was made outside of India. Nowadays, of course, nowadays also so many people work in, Gulf countries and America, whatever, and they save money and they send money to build temple, to build houses and so on to the parents and so on and so forth. So money comes to India. It's a good business, So Prabhupada, this was like a first. Prabhupada was importing something for free and exporting something for free and importing money. It questioned the source of our income. The government is worried that the devotees of Krishna may be secretly eating the installment of CIA, just as Lord Krishna himself used to secretly steal butter and eat it. So this is a bit Indian humor or Indian seriousness, you can say. They thought just like Krishna was secretly eating butter, so secretly devotees are CIA agents. This is, they thought in the beginning of the movement, that the Hare Krishna devotees are CIA agents, and that's why they come to India to spy. And Prabhupada would answer to this: if they are CIA agents, I don't think CIA agents would agree to sleep on the floor and get eaten by mosquitoes. I don't think this is true, and so on and so forth. Anyways, this is also, I personally know Yashamati Prabhu. He was, in one sense, my benefactor, yeah, I knew him, and he was very kind and nice. Hare Krishna Prabhu. He has left the body a few years ago, unfortunately, and he has actually stayed in Gujarat, particularly in Ahmedabad, and he has built a very beautiful temple, which we recently visited 2 years ago. And it's a beautiful place and many devotees. So he has worked one place and developed it really, really well. So Yashamati Prabhu ki jai. So this is the Prabhupada part. Anybody like to say something or ask a question? No. Okay. Then we are going to Srimad Bhagavatam, Puranam Amalam, Yad Vaishnavanam Priyam. Everybody has a computer, huh? You have a computer? Arul is not here. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narotamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayat Nashta Presha Baddeshu Nitya Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtiki. So we'll be reading from 7th canto, 4th chapter, text 39. Kvachit Rudati Vaikunta. Kvachit Rudati Vaikunta. Chinta Shabala Chetanaha. Chinta Shabala Chetanaha. Kvachit Dasati Tachinta. Kvachit Dasati Tachinta. Klada Udgayati Kvachit. Klada Udgayati Kvachit. Kvachit Rudati Vaikunta. Chinta Shabala Chetanaha. Kvachit Dasati Tachinta. Klada Udgayati Kvachit. Please. Kvachit Rudati Vaikunta. Chinta Shabala Chetanaha. Kvachit dasati tachinta. Hlada udgayati kvachit. Kvachit rudati vaikunta. Chinta shabala chetanaha. Kvachit dasati tachinta. Hlada udgayati kvachit. Kvachit rudati vaikunta. Chinta shabala chetana. Kvachit dasati tachinta. Hlada udgayati kvachit. Kvachit. Sometimes. Rudati cries. Vaikunta chinta. By thoughts of Krishna. Shabala chetanaha. Whose mind was bewildered. Kvachit. Sometimes. Hasati. Laughs. Tachinta. By thoughts of him. Ahladaha. Being jubilant. Udgayati. Chants very loudly. Kvachit. Sometimes. Translation. Because of advancement in Krishna consciousness, he sometimes cried, sometimes laughed, sometimes expressed jubilation, and sometimes sang loudly. Purport. This verse further clarifies the comparison of a devotee to a child. If a mother leaves her small child in his bed or cradle and goes away to attend to some family duties, the child immediately understands that his mother is gone away, and therefore he cries. But as soon as the mother returns and cares for the child laughs and becomes jubilant. Similarly, Prahlad Maharaj, being always absorbed in thoughts of Krishna, sometimes felt separation, thinking, where is Krishna? This is explained by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Shunyaitam jagat sarvam govinda virahe name. When an exalted devotee feels that Krishna is invisible, having gone away, he cries in separation, and sometimes when he sees that Krishna has returned to care for him, he laughs, just as the child sometimes laughs upon understanding that his mother is taking care of him. These symptoms are called bhava. In the nectar devotion, various bhavas, ecstatic conditions of a devotee, are fully described. These bhavas are visible in the activities of a perfect devotee. Kvachid rudati vaikunta, chinta shabala chetanha, kvachid dasati tach chinta hlada udgayati kvachit. Because of advancement in Krishna consciousness, he sometimes cried, sometimes laughed, sometimes expressed jubilation, and sometimes sang loudly. So this is some very exalted symptoms described by it's described in Srimad Bhagavatam. These are the symptoms of a devotee who has achieved bhava platform. We know bhava is a very high level. It's a, as Prabhupada writes, preliminary stage of prema, of pure love for Krishna. So this is like very, very high stages. So these stages, these are described how, and in Nectar Devotion, this is described what does mean, the different symptoms of bhava, of preliminary stages of love of Krishna. But to actually, I was just thinking, the devotees of Krishna, they like to come to this platform, because in Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's book called Prema Vatma Chandrika, it describes that devotees should actually desire such state. Jaya, confirmed by Krishna. When garland falls, the devotee should desire such states, because if you don't desire such state, if we just stay on this, you can say neophyte level or level of Aishwarya, level of worshiping Krishna on the platform of reverence and awe, then it will be a little bit difficult to achieve this state of spontaneous devotional service. So this spontaneous devotional service, although Prabhupada says we should not prematurely try to jump over, as Bhakti Gaur Das Babaji gave example of girl who is pregnant, a girl who puts some pillow in her belly, in her skirt, and she says, "I'm pregnant." It's imitation, and those who are pregnant, they know you are actually not pregnant. So in the same way, those who are, so many confirmation signs here, everything's falling apart. Those who are on the platform of higher levels of bhavas and premas, they can see on what level we are. We can pretend that we are very advanced, or we can walk very seriously, or we can quote very wonderful verses. But those who are on this level, they know. There's a book written by Srila Bhakti Vikas Swami Maharaj called Vamshidas Babaji, and this is like going to the extreme. This Babaji explained, he actually is a document of this Babaji's life. This was a Babaji, meaning he was very avadutik, or meaning he was very unusual behavior for Vaishnava, because we have our daily sadhanas, we have all these rules that we follow, we shave, we take showers, we put tilak. He had none of this. And this was actually, this is a narration by Jati Shekhar Prabhu, disciple of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, whom Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati personally instructed to go and visit and serve this devotee. And he said, he's a Paramahamsa. And everybody was like, he's a Paramahamsa? He was like a disheveled, never took. They said that he was traveling with him for forever how long, he never saw him taking shower. And he said he never saw him going to the bathroom. And he would be really like wild, he was, so. But when the time was coming, he would always see Krishna everywhere. And what is important, I will speak this a little bit later, that you devotees who are on this highest platform of spontaneous love, because sometimes we think spontaneous love means, oh, I don't need to offer, I just offer in my hand to Krishna. I give picture in my hand, picture to Krishna, food, and then I eat it, because this is spontaneous love. Just like Krishna was offering his friend's little rice in his left hand. When Brahma saw this, he was like, what is this? Is this God? We all into this huge Vedic culture and rules and regulations, and suddenly God is a child in his left hand, he's holding a little rice. This is not, something's not good here. So, but Vamshidas Babaji went even a step further. He was even more, you can say, strange. And he would sometimes peel the aubergine, eggplant. He would peel the eggplant, and in his ecstasy, he would throw the eggplant and put a peel in the water. And he would offer it to Krishna, his deities of Krishna. Just peel of eggplant in the water. This is very strange, But he would always see Krishna. He would always relate to Krishna. He would always speak to his deities. He had the deities of Gornitai, he had the deities of Radha and Krishna, and he would always carry them with him. And then once in his tent, the cow came. He was somewhere outside, and a cow came and made a mess in the tent. And he came back and he became very angry. And he said, Nitai, what have you done? And he said, because of this, you made so much mess today, you get punishment, no food. So he would make his offering and he would go give only to Gauranga, not to Nityananda. so this should not be imitated, because this is a different level. This is the level of a liberated person. Siddha Purusha, as they say. So to understand, to come to this platform, actually, it is described by, what is it, Srimad Bhagavatam. I even have this quote here. Where is it? Here. This is from the 10, 12, 7 to 11, the verse. It's described, the cowherd boys, describing the cowherd boys. This is the pastime of Krishna boys going to Talavan forest. And when they were going there, describing what did they do, what the cowherd boys did. So there's all these wonderful things. Some was blowing flute, some was blowing these bugle horns, somebody was imitating monkeys, somebody was provoking monkeys. Somebody was dancing like peacock. Somebody was jumping in the water like frog. All kinds of interesting things they did. And they will see the well, and they will go into the well and say, ha, ha, and then echo will come. They will laugh. So it's a great fun they had. So you would think like, wow, this is nice. I could do this. Yes, but then the last verse, the last line in this verse says, the cowherd boys, having accumulated the result of pious activities from many lives, were able to associate with the Supreme Person in this way, to associate with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, Krita Punya Punja, this is the famous Prabhupada quoted also many times. Krita Punya Punja means so many lifetimes of punya, of pious activities. So it's not just, now we decided to be spontaneous, we spontaneously, speak to Krishna or whatever, worship Krishna, or, don't offer to Nityananda, offer to Lord Chaitanya only. No, we have to accumulate first punya so we can come to this liberated state of spontaneous love. But that said, that means that this love still needs to be desired, because our sampradaya, every sampradaya has their own Ishtadevata. Ishtadevata is the worshipable deity. We have even in our sampradayas, Vallabha sampradaya, they worship Ladu Gopal. Ramanuja sampradaya, they worship several, but Narayan or Ram. So this is their Ishtadevata. And our Ishtadevata is Radha and Krishna. But not even Radha and Krishna in Vrindavan. This is our Ishtadevata in Vrindavan Dham. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur said in the Ragavatma Chandrika that even if a devotee worships Radha and Krishna, still he can worship Radha and Krishna in Aishwarya mood. So therefore, worshiping Radha Krishna has to be accompanied with the Krishna's Leela in Vrindavan. So this is important. This is our Ishtadevata, Krishna and Radha in Vrindavan. And therefore, when Rupa Goswami famously wrote this verse, and he was in Puri, and Lord Chaitanya came to visit him, and he saw the verse attached to the little hut Rupa Goswami had, and he took the leaf and he read it, and he said, how can Rupa, there's a devotee with him, and he said, how could Rupa understand my mind? He said, this is my mind. This is Lord Chaitanya's mind. And the verse says that, this is the verse actually spoken by Srimati Radharani when she went to Kurukshetra. She saw Krishna, and she said, this is the same, you're the same Krishna, and the same Radha, and this is the same, same youth, we are same attracted to each other. But still, somehow or other, I wish that we go back to the bank of the Yamuna under the Vetasi tree. So this is an important point, that Radha and Krishna worship has to be in Vrindavan, and has to be in this particular Leela of Madhurya Leela. So this is our, you can say, Ishtadevata. And therefore, we, as disciples of, ultimately Rupa Nugas, disciples of Rupa Goswami and the rest of the Acharyas, we are also aspiring for that same goal. Naturally, there will be other devotees, they have a different attraction for different deities. There are devotees who worship in Shila, Shalagam Shila, very fervently. Vishnu worship, there's devotees who are very much attracted to Vishnu. I know one devotee who is very attracted to Lord Ram, and he told me, I would like to go, when I die, I want to go to Ramaloka. Although he's an ISKCON devotee, and he chants Hare Krishna and everything, but he is attracted to Lord Ram. So as we see in Chaitanya Charitamrita also, there's exceptions. We have Murari Gupta, who is attracted to Sri Ramachandra, and he would, although Lord Chaitanya told him, give up this Ramachandra, just worship, Radha and Krishna, and he's okay, because Lord, if God comes and tells you, give up worshiping this, I will do it. So he gave up, and next morning, Lord Chaitanya came to Murari and said, Murari, how was your worshiping Radha and Krishna? Murari said, my dear Lord, I couldn't sleep all night. And I think I want to commit suicide. And he said, why? Because I cannot give up worship of Lord Ramachandra. And then Lord Chaitanya said, yes, this is you are the actual worshipper of Lord Ramachandra. And then I think he quoted Lord Ram, who says, "Blessed is that master who never leaves his servant, and blessed is the servant who never leaves his master." So this is the mood also of us as devotees. So again, we have to desire to come to this platform of spontaneous devotional service. Again, not prematurely, but with enthusiasm, patience, and utsaham nishchadarya tatat karma pravatana, following the footsteps of the previous acharyas. So talking of previous acharyas, I'm quoting now from Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his book called Bhajana Rahasya. This is a book that he wrote about Ashta, this prayers we read every morning, Shiksha Ashtakam. And about this particular quote, this from the day 6, Nayanam Galadashru Dharaya Vadanam Gadgada Rudaya Gira Pulakir Nichitam Vapukada Tavanama Grahane Bhavishyati. Oh my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with a flood of tears when I chant your holy names? So this is the aspiration of a devotee. Devotee who may not have these symptoms, but the desires the symptoms. So when will my eyes be decorated with a flood of tears as I chant the holy names, your holy names? At that time of my chanting, my voice will falter as the name comes from my mouth, and the hairs of my entire body will stand on end. So this is actually a verse spoken by Lord Chaitanya, again, as an aspiring devotees who desire these symptoms. Bhaktivinoda Thakur quote also from the same mood, quotes from the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Without the wealth of prema, my life is impoverished and devoid of any meaning. Make me your servant and give me the salary of the treasure of divine love. So, just as Lord Chaitanya was saying that when they were praising Lord Chaitanya, he's full of love of Krishna. And Lord Chaitanya said, I have no love for Krishna, actually. Because if I do have love of Krishna, I would die immediately. Because how can I tolerate one moment without being without Krishna? So this is here, Chaitanya Charitamrita said, without the wealth of prema, my life is impoverished and devoid of any meaning. So these are all the, you can say, preliminary or aspiring positions that we have to come so that we can actually come to this platform, that we can laugh and sing. And we see later on in Nectar Devotion other symptoms like yawning, when you're yawning for yawning love of God. This is considered, a symptom of love of Krishna prema bhava, when we are yawning. So sometimes devotees yawn in the class and you say, wow, they're actually very advanced. Sometimes there are all kinds of symptoms, interesting symptoms, stunning or bewilderment, or I was just reading this morning some symptoms. Very interesting symptoms. So you wonder, really, this is laughter or so these are all ecstatic symptoms, but these symptoms are on another level because devotees are on another level. So whatever they do is in relation to Krishna. So these symptoms, when we yawn, I'm yawning because I'm tired, or whatever. There's not enough oxygen. I don't know exactly. Anybody scientist? No oxygen in your brain, so oxygen has to come to your brain. So this is why I'm yawning. But when pure devotee yawns, this is because in relation to Krishna. When we are laughing, see something funny on the street, it's funny. But when you see some personally Krishna Leela, Krishna did something, so the devotees are laughing. So there's different levels of this. So Prabhupada says, quotes from Narada Pancharatra, this expression of submission, and devotee says, my dear Lord, when will that day come when on the bank of Yamuna I shall become just like a madman and continuously chant your holy name while incessant tears flows from my eyes? Prabhupada says this is perfectional stage. So interestingly enough, perfection of our religion is to stand on the bank of the river and chant and laugh and cry. This is I was listening to this one lecture of Aranda Sarup Prabhu recently, and he was explaining how in religion, because I think he has PhD in religion, he said that in religions you have what people consider mature religionist or advanced religionist is the one who uses logic, basically jnana. So people who are like discussing Jesus or whatever, or we discuss, Shastra. There's so many wonderful arguments we have. We have ultimately this Shat Darshan, the 6 main philosophies of Indian philosophy, and there's all kinds of amazing details, which you have not even one millionth comparing to the rest of the world religions, what we have in these Shat Darshans, for example. This explanation of the material world, the creation, the whole thing. It's an amazing thing. But this is considered this, as Arinda Sarup Prabhu says, the mature or logic or sober religionist. On the other hand, those who are not able, who don't have knowledge, who are not so much poor people who don't have much jnana, they engage in so-called ecstatic devotion, which means chanting, dancing. So this is considered like a lower class because they're not intelligent enough to understand, to comprehend the religion, to understand God. And therefore you have this, festivals and all these things, and people, religious festivals glorifying God. You have actually, in Catholic tradition, they have Ratha Yatras. We saw this Induleka sent us the picture from Spain. They carry this. What is this? Not Jesus, or maybe Jesus, Mother Mary, and they put money or whatever garlands on her. They sing the songs. They go to the streets of the city, and they just like a Ratha. So this is considered, lower, you can say, because these people this is their level. So Ravinda Prabhu said, actually, the reality is. The both are interconnected, as Prabhupada is saying. Religion without philosophy is sentimentalism, and the other one. Yeah, sentimentalism, and philosophy without religion is the dry speculation. So there has to be both. But ultimately, even this, the goal of life is actually transcend, you can say, knowledge. And come to this ecstatic platform. Of course, you cannot come to this ecstatic platform unless you have so much knowledge, shastrically correct. And we see even you can never hear or read anything correct if you read books by Rupa Goswami, the Gopi said something. There's always in line with our shastra, always shastrically correct. So meaning that we have to come to this Krita Punya Punja to accumulate tons of pious credits, but also understand our philosophy really, really well. And then spontaneously, then we can stand on the Yamuna and just chant, and people say, what is this? When Lord Chaitanya came to Varanasi, and there were all these sannyasis, gyanis, heavy duty. These are heavy duty people. We see these Mayavadi sannyasis, but these are serious devotees. Devotees of Mayavadi devotees, you can say. I read not recently, a few years ago, one book. I forgot his name, Chandrasekhar. Veni Madhava, I would know him. I asked him. Chandrasekhar Swami, I'm not sure. He was like a super scholar in the Sampradaya of Shankaracharya, defending the Vedas, showing the superiority of the Vedas to other knowledge. It's amazing knowledge. It's an amazing knowledge. It's just really. Of course, the conclusion of knowledge is completely wrong because Krishna is not impersonal. Krishna is actually personal. But the knowledge is there. So Lord Chaitanya went to Varanasi, and all these super scholars and austere devotees, but Lord Chaitanya didn't stay with them. He stayed with Tapan Mishra, who was apparently Shudra, even lower caste, and he would just dance and chant. So when Lord Chaitanya met one of the sannyasis, and they said, "Why don't you come to us? I mean, you are a sannyasi. Why are you, sitting with this low?" He said, "Engage with chanting and dancing with these kind of lower class people, because this is considered lower class." Lord Chaitanya said, "Well, my spiritual master told me I'm not qualified to study the Shastra. I'm not intelligent enough to study the Shastra. He just told me to chant the holy name. And I started chanting holy name, following the instructions of my guru. And since then, I cannot stop. I become like a madman. I dance and chant uncontrollably." Of course, later on, Lord Chaitanya defeated him, and this is described in the first Adi Lila Chaitanya Charitamrita. And this book was actually a small book printed. I think this is the 5th chapter, printed in America as one small book, and they were distributing on the street, called Lord Chaitanya and 5 Features. This is a heavy philosophy there. The devotees were distributed on the street. Anyways, you want to say something? No. So Lord Chaitanya actually proved that although he was chanting and dancing with sentimentalists, as they call them, the Mayavadi sannyasis, he was sitting with these sentimentalists. At the same time, he displayed supreme knowledge of the philosophy. So he actually defeated everybody. So this is something that we have to understand. How do you what is actually spontaneous devotional service? Spontaneous devotional service is heavily backed by the philosophical knowledge and by punya. And then when this level comes, and aspiration for this, and desire to attain this kind of state. So Prabhupada says here, one should feelingly pray and become eager to render his particular type of service to the Lord. This is the teachings of all the great devotees, especially Lord Chaitanya. In other words, one should learn how to cry for the Lord. One should learn this small technique, and he should be very eager and actually cry to become engaged in some particular type of service. This is called laulyam, and such tears are the price of the highest perfection. So otherwise, there is no material calculation for the value of the ticket by which one can enter the kingdom of God. The only price for such entrance is laulyam lalasamai, desire and great eagerness. This is the Nectar of Devotion Prabhupada quotes. So this crying for the Lord actually is the enthusiasm to actually achieve Krishna. Without enthusiasm, you can cry, my dear. You sit in the couch and you say, you want to be a sportsman. You sit in the couch and you say, I really want to be a good boxer. But you sit in the couch and don't train anything, so not going to happen. You want to be a musician, you don't make any music. You want to be a writer, you don't write. Okay, I wrote one essay 7 years ago. Okay, nice. So if whatever we want to do in anything, we have to be successful, especially nowadays. Nowadays, you have to be not just average, how do you say, a level, but you have to be very, very advanced, because this competition is fierce competition. And so the material world, we also have a fierce competition with the material energy, which we know in advance that we will lose. We have no chance against the material energy to compete. Therefore, Prabhupada says here, one should learn this technique to cry for the Lord. So this crying for the Lord is a little bit different than the crying in the ecstasy. Crying for the Lord means desiring very badly. I really want this. I really want this. Because if Krishna has to see that we want to achieve his love, so he has to see that we want it. It is said again by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur that devotee has to the devotional service, the prema bhakti doesn't come on its own. It's not like we develop prema bhakti. We work on it like muscles. Okay, I lift some weights and I get this muscle. I don't know, biceps, triceps, whatever it is. We can do this, but ultimately bhakti comes from Krishna and has to be awarded, and Krishna prema has to be awarded. There's no mechanical means by which you can achieve Krishna prema. But we have to show Krishna by doing this, accumulating punya, accumulating knowledge, and desiring, crying for Krishna. Then Krishna will see, okay, maybe I'll give this man a chance. I was once in Vrindavan, and we had a little sink, and once I was just about to wash my hands, and I saw an ant, and in Vrindavan, ants are like quite huge at that time. I don't know. There's a different periods of year, and I think there's small ones, but they're also the big ones. Vijay Gauranga Tägliche. And he was in the sink, and he was somehow stuck in the sink, and he tried to get out of the sink, and sink is like really glatt. Wie sagt man glatt? Slippery. And he would go almost this much to the top and slide back. And I was watching it, and he was like, go. I said, come on, do it. And he was going, slide back. And I watched him like 4 or 5 times. I said, okay. So then he went up, and I put my finger, and I just pushed him a little bit. And he was very proud, He was not proud. Don't have pride. But he he went to the top, and he went out. So I was thinking, this is what's happening, We have to endeavor. If he was on the bottom, I would not be able to push him. But because he was endeavoring, and I felt like bad for him, and after like 4 or 5 times, I thought, okay, I'll give him a little push. For me, this is nothing, a little push. So for Krishna, is nothing to give us a little push. But he has to see that we are endeavoring. He has to see that we are struggling, we are falling again, we are going up, falling again. And we have this enthusiasm, lolyam lalasamaya, as Prabhupada says here. The only price for such entrance is lolya, or desire, or great eagerness. So that's that. I think I would stop for now, and then we'll see if any questions or any comments, and then we can maybe speak further or maybe not. Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhu.
Push what you're saying is giving like Krishna, comes from Krishna. I would say it comes from the spiritual master. So
Yes.
that's why it's important that we accept the spiritual master. But nowadays, I discussed with my wife also, it's the new devotees or the newcomers, they're not really do the step. They're not really understand how important it is. So that you accept the spiritual master.
Yes.
Can you say something?
Yes, I can say something. I could say many things. This is like actually the burning topic. Sorry? Especially the Balaram is, of course, Balaram is also soon, tomorrow. And yes, the spiritual master is actually external representative of Krishna. And actually, maybe I have some even notes from the last lecture I gave in Ireland. I was talking similar topic. The spiritual master is a external representative of Krishna, and is actually Krishna in that sense. So because devotees receive knowledge from externally as spiritual master's words, and internally from the Paramatma. So both has to be there. But nowadays, first of all, I think we don't have enough spiritual masters. This is number one. This is talking about social. We're talking social science now. It's called social world. We don't have enough spiritual masters. Before here in Germany, we had like how many? 5, 6, whatever. And now there's kind of not many, and almost none. And sometimes, spiritual master occasionally visits the temple. This is not really how you say, it doesn't have a lasting effect. If the spiritual master is often, somehow or other, it happened to be like this. The spiritual masters are traveling, and somehow the world become very big, and the spiritual masters they're less and less. Although we have, and the ISKCON is growing, so therefore people accept spiritual masters online, or and this is nice, wonderful. But if there's not much of a personal, one devotee told me just 2 days ago, just before I came here, he was telling me one big sannyasi, I don't want to say the name, he was initiating 300 disciples in one go. And he already has over 10,000, maybe more, 30,000, whatever, numbers after 10 or 30,000 is too much anyways. How can one person, have a relationship with 30,000 people, And it's not possible. And so he initiated 300 disciples, and he gave them names, and he looked at this devotee, he was a senior devotee, and he said, I don't know what should I do with these people. Not in a negative way, but he was thinking, how can I, another 300, what am I supposed to do with them? But luckily, this particular sannyasi, he has instituted this, as we call it nowadays, mentorship program, meaning Shiksha Guru, basically, which is some kind of a, you can say, substitute for the actual spiritual master. So which is also makes sense that these senior devotees who become responsible for these particular devotees Then later on, when spiritual master leaves, they become themselves spiritual masters. So our situation in ISKCON is a little bit like this because it's a new movement, and Prabhupada left, and he left basically 12 spiritual masters. This is not much for the whole world. So-called zonal acharyas. Of course, whatever, they made a mess. Some of them made a huge mess because they did not know. They come from the Western background, no tradition, no history. Then they actually did not know what spiritual master is. Only what they knew was Prabhupada. So they thought whatever Prabhupada was, I want, this is how spiritual master is supposed to be. So they were always sitting big Vyasasans and, accepting this Guru Puja next to Prabhupada's Guru Puja and so on at the same time. And slowly it expanded because devotees wanted to get initiations. And they said, I want to get initiation from him, not from you. And so on and so forth. So nowadays we have a little more, expanded, but it's proportionately to how many devotees we have in ISKCON, it's very, very little, like almost, So therefore, it's difficult for the new devotees to understand what spiritual master is because there is no spiritual masters enough. And we can see devotees who are trained, who live, like Vaisheshika Prabhu, he lives in San Jose, I think. And these devotees who are there, his disciples, he lives with them every day. They see him every day. And he trains them every day. So this is the difference. So if I hope that one day ISKCON will slowly grow, so that each area will have their own, as we call it, local guru. We made a guru, ISKCON made a guru. I heard even one, Devamrita Swami said, we made it look so difficult, to be a guru. He said, but in reality, it's not so difficult. But we made it impossible somehow. Guru is like, but actually the guru is the spiritual master who leads other devotees, who train other devotees. Of course, there has to be some certain level of advancement. But guru does not mean that he must be extraordinary Paramahamsa. It is said in Nectar of Devotion, there's 3 types of guru. Guru in mode of goodness, guru in mode of passion, guru in mode of... Was it? No, sorry. Kanishtadikari, Uttamadikari, and Madhyamadikari. And Prabhupada says, even Kanishtadikari can be a guru. But you should know as a disciple that you cannot make more advancement than your guru. So basically, but again, there's no harm. In the Krishna Bhajanamrita by Narahari Sarakar, he said that if we feel that our guru is not giving me enough, I'm actually can go to my guru and ask, I would like to take shiksha from this other guru. Is this okay? And he said, and if guru is normal guru, he will say, sure, I give you the blessings. Then you go to another. We see Ramanujacharya, remember we were like speaking about Ramanujacharya. He had how many? 7 or 8 or 12 gurus, something like this. 7 or 8 gurus. And each guru was teaching him a certain point. One guru was teaching him Bhagavad Gita, another something else. So he had different gurus. So meaning it's not a huge offense if you want to take shiksha from somebody else. But if we have a guru who is actually guiding us, according to the Shastra, that's a completely different, you can say, level. And nowadays, the problem is this is what I think, the problem is not enough gurus. And even if they take initiation, the guru comes once a year, then he smiles at you and he doesn't even know you much. He just said, Hare Krishna, how are you? Bhakta Yohanes, and you say, I'm good. And then you serve him a little bit, cut some vegetables for him, and then he leaves. And then you say, wow, he was so nice to me. This is nice, but the guru actually guru means teacher. We see Balaram, he's using everything in Krishna's service. So using everything in Krishna's service, meaning he has to instruct or advise disciple how to be in Krishna's service. So for that, he has to tell you, this is don't do this, don't do this, do this, don't do this, do this, don't do this. So this has to come back slowly. It has to come back. The guru said to slowly give advices or instructions to disciples, which again, if I can imagine if I would be a guru and I have 300 or 500 disciples and I visit them once a year, you're not going to tell them, clean you see them once a year, you want to be nice to them. So it's like you can say in one sense artificial relationship because guru means ultimately a teacher. Of course, we have internet and lectures online and whatever, whatnot, but the personal instructions are very important. And if guru does not give personal instructions, then he can make one of his disciples to be acting as a shiksha guru to his disciples. And we have, I think, Jayapataka Swami nowadays, he doesn't give initiations anymore, but he gives initiations through his disciples. This is what I've heard,
Well, he said in the last lecture I was in Mayapur in February, I think I was there. He openly said he can't speak very well now.
Yes.
But he said that Prabhu told him to take 50,000 disciples.
Yes.
Everybody passed the number. But he's still initiating, he's still guru.
Yes.
Surprisingly enough, he's halfly paralyzed. Maybe he's at the end of his lila, I don't know. But the answers he's giving are very clear. And I remember like 10 years ago, he used to give these casual answers, and I wasn't doing all this, satisfied with his answers. But now, his answers are very precise.
Yes, yes.
Somehow that I don't know. Can't declare how he is. But,
yes, but he's empowering his senior sannyasis to give initiation in his name. So they're like retreats in reality. So they actually, this is how it's supposed to be. You're old and you cannot travel all over, but your disciples give, and this is what Prabhupada did actually in reality. He had all these Kirtanananda and these senior sannyasis giving initiations in the name of Prabhupada. And when Prabhupada would leave the planet, or when Jayapataka Swami would leave the planet, then these disciples would become actual gurus. And they will give initiations and so on and so forth. We have some new gurus in ISKCON also, like disciples of Gopal Krishna Maharaj. I met this Vaishnava Prabhu, I don't know his name, sannyas name. Vaishnava? Anyways, he was a vice president of Vrindavan for many years, and he apparently, one devotee, I met some devotees and I said, we just got initiated last year. I said, really, who's your guru? It's Vaishnava Swami. I said, oh, really? I know him since 92, And then he said, first initiation was 300 people. 300 people. Second initiation, 400 people, like next week. Because there's so many devotees are joining and they don't have, they wanted to take from Gopal Krishna Maharaj or whatever, but Maharaj was old already, leaving the body. So the people are waiting, India is like in that sense booming, so there's need for so many people. I mean, imagine first 2 initiations in 1 week, you give 700 people. I mean, that's amazing. How do you remember the names of everybody, And this is just the beginning. They said he was just keep on initiating people because there's so many people in initiations. So this is what I kind of think about this. The ISKCON has to, open the door a little bit. It's not traditionally the custom that the disciples initiate before, as long as the guru is present. But at the same time, if guru is sick, then they should at least empower devotees to initiate in his name, if not allow them. Like Kadambakananda Swami was one of the first. Bhakti Vijnana Maharaj is also. He was old Harikesh disciple, and then he took initiation with Radhanath Swami. And then some years ago, Russia, there was hundreds or thousands of devotees, so they needed somebody, so he became guru. Now this Chaitanya Chandra Charan also is disciple of whose? Jayapataka Maharaj, yeah. So, so it's a historically this time is very crucial. So therefore, maybe later on, it will come to normal that disciples don't initiate it as long as spiritual master is present. But at the moment, it's needed because we lose. Just one second, we lose so many devotees actually, because for that very reason, they come and nobody initiating them, and they go to Vrindavan and they meet Swami such and such, Baba such and such, and they drink coffee together and get initiation. Next in 10 minutes. No bananas, no, just, your name is such and such. And you just like, wow. Then we had the one lady, she came back from India. She said, Haribol, I got the name. My name is such and such Dasi. We're like, really? So it's not the best, but at the same time, it's understandable. People want to get initiated. They come to the point, I want to get initiated. And then you have to initiate by somebody you don't know. Or even, in Germany here, I remember I was talking to one devotee before, and he told me, I want to get initiated, but I want to get initiated by a German-speaking guru. And there's not many. There's like 2 basically, or 3, but one is not really. Of course, we have a Bhakti Vishnu Maharaj also not initiating. I don't want to name now, but or they're living outside of Germany, they're not here. So whom should I get initiation? And even if you say, okay, I want this, but you don't know him, you never see him. And so this is what I think. I need a local, at least Shiksha Guru to be acknowledged as Guru, not just like person who is given instructions and then once they get initiation, they throw like an impersonalist, Mayavadis. You say we need Guru, like a Guru is like a ladder. This is the classic example. And you climb the building and you climb by the help of the Guru, climb the ladder, and then once you're on the you can just throw the ladder down. You don't need it anymore. So this happened a lot in the past, and this cannot be. Because these are the people who actually know you from the beginning, and they instruct you, and they lead you, and this should be acknowledged, at least officially, somehow. And this will be also encouraging for these devotees to keep on doing this. And otherwise, it will be just, as you said, it's just to become a sentimental devotional service. If you don't try to deal with your anarthas in the very beginning of Krishna consciousness, later on, you cannot. I mean, you traveled with Ananda Krishna when you were Bhakta. Were you in the van? So Ananda was, I'm sure, he was, cutting somewhat, So this is the training. You receive some training from somebody. But if you don't receive any training, it's kind of it's nice in one sense, but in another sense, it's like you missed it out. You missed out the process of cleaning the anarthas, which is important process in devotional service. Anartha nivritti. If you just bypass anartha nivritti, you cannot. What kind of level is the next? Anyways, Prabhu, what do you want to say?
Well, if you look at the disciple training course, you must be aware, that.
Yes.
There's a lot of fight in it. And I supposed to give that course in Howrah. And when I looked at it, because I got initiated way back, and these things are now newly coming in. It just a test how to argue against critics. I'm saying I'm not going to teach that. It's not. No, I understand that. Okay, according to what maybe Shaguru used to say that if
who was that?
He used to say that if the rhetorics would not destroy the sampradaya, they claim in one line that
Yes.
nobody is qualified after Prabhupada to give Diksha because they are falling.
Yes.
There's some truth to that, we've seen that, but there is also many things which are not true what they're saying, because there are rules going back to God.
Yes.
I mean, but why make a test, a disciple training course, give 10 arguments against Vitstik?
Yes.
This argument. That's not the Bhakta training.
Yes.
I was thinking, it's something more substantial. What I'm teaching is Bhakta training, is Vaishnava etiquette.
Yes.
Along with the first and the last chapter of Pancharatta Pradeep, how to be clean,
Yes.
how to deal nicely, and how to do daily activities. That's
Yes.
the process.
Yes.
Right? So this thing what you're talking about, I was wondering, it is actually happening that gurus who are alive still empower their disciples to initiate because they are just not helping. But then the question again arises, will that empowering guru take the karma, or will the one who was initiating in the name of the guru take the karma? Because that's a big fight.
Yes. Yes.
So how do you say it? Because I understand from a social point of view, you're making adjustments, you're bending things like that, but according to the tradition of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, it was not like that. Like Bhakti Thakur was the much Hadish, the leader of the much. He was the guru most inspiring person, therefore everyone took shelter of him. Then later he appointed a few others.
Yes.
There's a social consideration, and it's a losing people. And then how will you solve that according to Siddhanta?
Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati did not give sannyas to those not born in a Brahmana family.
See, like that.
He was going that far because he did not want to. I mean, he already broke away from the actual, traditional Indian culture by, driving cars or whatever, all these things. Yukta Vairagya, but he did not go too far. He did not allow women to live in the ashrams. He did not, sannyas was only for from the Brahmana family. And so he kept some, So Prabhupada went to America, and he saw that this is not going to happen here in America. So because the women, were equal as men and many times better, as Prabhupada even noticed, my Grihastha couples did more than the sannyasis in England, sent by Bhaktisiddhanta. So he was very much, he understood the situation. Siddhantic, I always think, first of all, it is said, I cannot quote where from, but that anybody, the shastrically, anybody who is a teacher, anybody who is teaching or leading takes the karma, like anybody. It's not particularly assigned to the guru. Only guru takes the karma. Anybody who teaches somebody, anybody, as I said, that the government, Prabhupada says, the president takes 1/6 of the karma of the entire population. Oh yeah, of the entire population. Imagine 1/6. Oh my God, I wouldn't know. Yeah, but still, still. But so whoever takes, I would say that if the guru is, you can say official shiksha guru, he's actually is a guru, so he definitely takes some karma, and then his guru takes the karma of his disciple, whatever we can say technically. But definitely this if I give you instruction, if I tell you, Hannes, I want you to go to South Africa, no, I want you to go to Namibia, whatever the country is, no, Uganda, no, there's Uganda, Togo, whatever the country, there's no Krishna consciousness, and go there and open a center. And he goes there and he dies. African tribes eat him, whatever. And it's my, I sent him there, so it's my karma, I did it. So I don't know. So, and then because maybe I get sinful reactions, then my guru has to suffer my sinful reactions, whatever. But I think it's like this, that we have to, all our actions have to be reactions. So as a shiksha guru, as long as it is recognized officially of some kind. But even if not, we still get some kind of karma but taking the karma away, this is a different, of course, a different question. So I don't know how that works shastrically. I did not research. We have to research this a little bit. But I would think that the shiksha guru would take some karma. Yes, I mean your shiksha guru.
Yeah,
if you're official shiksha guru,
Yeah, I'm teaching and doing sacrifices, and I notice the difference before and after the sacrifices.
Yes.
Because you're getting some of the karma, you're purifying others. According to Garuda Purana, the teacher takes 1/6 of the karma of the students. Means the karma of teaching. Nobody's doing something else,
Yes.
When you're teaching, then interaction there, what you're purifying there, you'll be doing like that. But that's supposed to be easy because you're having a strict sadhana. If you have a strict sadhana, then you can purify yourself, and then the karma is gone.
Yes.
I ask Karmakanda priests, when they do sacrifices, you also get karma. Says, yes, we know this, because they all follow Garuda Purana. How do you purify yourself? And guess what they said? We chant Gayatri.
Yeah. I mean, even massage people, I know people do massage. They shake their hands after massage, isn't it? So meaning they took some some karma of the people touching them, So they have to, I don't know, do some energetic, whatever, but they have to shake their hands, or somehow they wash hands after this. So what to speak of, teaching somebody or offering some, and even when we worship the deity, at the end of all the deity worship, you have this mantra. I don't know the Sanskrit, but you said, please forgive whatever. What is the mantra, Nitya? What is the translation?
Please forgive all offenses that I made consciously or not consciously, everything that I did not proper.
Yeah. So meaning that we apparently also get some karma worshiping the deities. What to speak of if you teach somebody, or what to speak if you give instructions to somebody. Anyways, I think we are going in circles. So anything else, or should we close? Thank you very much. Bhagavatam ki jai.
We have another version from the Gurukul. Om Angahinam Kriyahinam Vidhihinam Chaya Bhavet Astudat Sarmas Chidram Krishna Kashna Prasadata Yat Kinchit Vaibhavam Jatam Tadosha Prasamani Shri Krishna Smaranam Karomi. I always chant that one. The other one, which you are chanting, Angahinam Kriyahinam Janardana. I don't chant that one, but this one we learned. We also do it for sacrifices.
Okay.
But deity worship offenses, according to Nectar of Devotion, they are forgiven by chanting Hare Krishna.
I know.
Ultimately, everything.
The big
Ultimately, when Subudhi Raya was in, he became Muslim. These Muslims sprinkled him, and he went to Varanasi, and he was asking priests, "What should I do?" And Brahmanas told him, "You should drink hot ghee and die, kill yourself." So imagine he's drinking hot ghee. So then he was just about to do this, and the other Brahmana said, "No, don't do it." And then Lord Chaitanya was walking by accidentally, of course. And then he said, what's the problem? And he said, "I have this advice from one side and another side to kill myself, and what should I do?" Lord Chaitanya said, "Go to Vrindavan and chant Hare Krishna."
Ik wou er een gang nou.
Jai Prabhupada ki jai.
Prejudice.